Unsure if we should have this meeting since we have one in like less than half an hour-ish. And there's no agenda.
Yeah, I'm fine canceling. I mean, I don't think there's anything. We could just like take a moment to go over blockers.
Amy sent me a message. She's on her way. So maybe let's hold up for her for a second. Hi, Andrew. How's it going? How's South Africa?
South Africa is good, thank you.
Good. Nice and hot.
Sunny and hot, the fan's on.
Gorgeous views. I'm jealous.
It looks lovely. It's horrible here.
Everyone is complaining about the cold. It sounds, I think it was like -11 somewhere, wasn't it?
Oh,
In the-
goodness.
Yeah, it's certainly feeling cold. It's just London's so dirty, right? So add a bit of
Yeah.
snow and it's just disgusting.
Yeah, it's like lovely for about half an hour and you're like, this is beautiful. And then it's like, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Cool. So I invited Henry along, so he may drop in, but just to give me like a kind of a heads up of what to start expecting from next week. I also succeeded in failing at calendars and booked over the last 10 minutes of this meeting for our next meeting. So let's get started. Is there anything? Let's get the agenda open. Is there anything, even though if not as a demo, Scott, do you want to just give a little overview of the API migration, and we can just check in that we've got not so much, I guess, on the a plan for the specific API that we need to work at, but how we go, a plan for the planning. But if you want to just give us an update on where things are going, and yeah, getting very
Current state, the API deployment is inside of pre-prod, but not taking any traffic. I've got the nodes deployed for the node pool in staging, but I do not have the deployment deployed out to pre-prod just yet. My next plan at this moment in time is to create the deployment in staging, along with starting the readiness review and along with starting to perform the necessary work to coalesce our changes between staging our VMs and staging in Kubernetes. That way we just have a basic overview as to what configuration differences exist between these two environments and see what I need to adjust and fix. Monitoring has a merge request open that I've got both Jarv and Andrew as reviewers assigned to currently. Andrew, there's a CI failure that I don't understand because when I do a make generate, it tells me to make those changes, but then CI says the complete opposite, so I don't know how to fix that, but we could address that in the merge request.
Yeah, it's probably, have you got JSON at 17? Because sometimes there's funny things with that, but I'll
Drop a note about that. I'll have to check what I've got installed. So monitoring has a merge request, and then for logging is in place and working for pre. So it's just a matter of I need to check out what changes need to happen in HA proxy to support the API because I imagine we've done some changes in HA proxy before that Jarv has done. So I imagine I'll have to probably copy and paste those changes over for the API work. So I hope that gives you a basic overview. To answer Jarv's question, I would hope that we don't have to, but I've not explored that just yet. Do you think I should?
Before you go on, sorry, just so the recording's a little bit more healthier. So the question is, should we should decide early about whether we're going to use Nginx ingress controller or not?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping we wouldn't, just utilize the same method of entry into Kubernetes, just like we do with our Git services. Jarv, I'm guessing you're asking this question for a specific reason.
Well, I think
We just worked to get rid of it.
We did, but I think, we really looked at all of the angles for Git HTTPS and decided it probably wasn't doing anything.
Okay.
I think when you talk about web and API, I think Nginx is probably doing more, right? And
Okay.
I'm just worried that this is moving into Kubernetes is a big change. Getting rid of Nginx is also a big change. And I'm not sure if we should do them both at the same time.
Okay.
That said, I think doing what we did with Git HTTPS, which is like to move to Kubernetes first and then get rid of Nginx, is kind of a pain in the ass. So I don't know whether that's something. My concern is as well is that our HA proxy configuration or HA proxy cookbook right now is not flexible enough to have multiple backends, or no, sorry, multiple servers in the same backend with different ports. The way I did the slow rollout for Git HTTPS is that I made the Chef configuration and I stopped Chef on all the load balancers, and then I just rolled the change to the load balancers. But if we want to have VMs and Kubernetes running side by side for an extended period of time, it's going to be painful for us to have some servers, like it's just going to be very painful for us to have some servers running. It's not possible, really. I think we would have to split it by HA proxy node, or we'd have to fundamentally change how our HA proxy configuration is managed, which is a bigger thing.
Okay. I'll spin up an exploratory issue and see what I could figure out, see what our blockers are, and go from there.
Before we dive too far into the solving the possible problems with the API migration, could we also, so given we've got Henry joining on Monday, and to give him kind of overview of these things and also to share some of Jav's knowledge, could we do this one a little bit more, I mean, slowly is the wrong word, but just rather than kind of trying to solve the problems on the fly, like, could we spend a little bit more time actually like getting a list of all the things that we think we need to investigate? Do we have issues in a doc somewhere, just so that we've got a bit more oversight, so Henry can kind of more easily catch up on some of this stuff, like before we deep dive into specifically Nginx or something like that.
Yeah,
so I guess make a plan for how we do the plan.
Yeah, I'll work on that. I'll utilize the Epic for the API migration to hold that information.
Excellent. Sounds good. Great. So yeah, Henry, hey, welcome. We were just talking a little bit about the API migration and spending a bit of time next week going through the plan for this, so that you can get a bit of an overview of how the tasks link together. So
yeah, thanks. Hello, and sorry for being late. I miscalculated my time.
That's all right. You're welcome. Cool. Okay. I'll hook up with you on that one, Scarbeck, so we can actually get to work out a kind of rough schedule for those things, so that it doesn't hold you up on this as well.
Okay.
Nice. Cool. Anything else on the API migration?
I don't believe so.
Nice. Okay.
Not
Jav.
for me, at least.
We can, this is just an FYI. We're waiting for this MR that will hopefully help with the client behavior on Reconnect for WebSockets. Once this is merged, then we can, or once this is deployed to production, we can scale back the WebSockets fleet and hopefully remove some of the silences we have. That's
nice. Sounds good. Do we have an issue or anything that sort of shows, like, do we know what we're looking for, like, for when this does get merged in? Like, how will we make that decision?
I think what we'll probably do is like watch our error rates during deployments and see if we would have tripped our SLOs for WebSockets. I do have an issue open for this, which is, I'll link it.
Oh, is it the validate WebSockets one?
Yeah, I think we can
Oh,
just
here we
use
go.
this issue.
That's okay, great.
Or
Yeah,
this is
that's
the, I'm sorry, that's the incident issue. There's another issue for, yeah, it's to validate.
that one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's it for me.
Nice. Okay, is there anything else people would like to demo or discuss?
Actually, since we have a few minutes before our next meeting, Jarv, we've got that issue open regarding the alerts for node pools and running out of nodes or the ability to scale. And we've created silences for it.
Yeah.
And we don't have a way to create an appropriate alert today. Should we just get rid of that alert for the time being, which I shy to do? Well, it's, I don't know. What should we do with that? I feel like
I
we
think
lose
it's,
this. We don't have visibility into this anyways, so I'm not really sure what the best option is.
yeah, I think we just need an issue tracking the lack of visibility, but for now I would remove the alert if we're just going to silence it anyway. And if
Okay.
we decide that we don't want to maintain it manually, by
What is the maximum on that? Like, what's the maximum that we can't go past on those alerts?
the maximum is the number of nodes, and this is per node pool. How many?
Yeah, and
so
that we've set.
And that we've set in Terraform, and I guess we
Yeah.
don't have that maximum available to us in Prometheus. So we don't have a good way to alert when we've scaled up to the maximum number of nodes.
It's not in
Scarback,
Prometheus. Are you sure it's not in the no,
Yeah.
probably not. Sorry.
I don't know. I don't know for sure. Like when I looked at, I didn't see it, but I didn't look that deeply. So
Google doesn't provide this metric for us. I've got a feature request for them to add it, but the best that, yeah, the best that we could probably do right now is create a custom metric inside of Google, which they've got documentation for, but I've not yet explored it. And then we could hopefully get that exported via our Stackdriver exporter, toss it into Prometheus, and then maybe we could create an appropriate alert per node pool. But right now, that alert was initially created when we were on a regional cluster where we could max out the available nodes. But now that we've got everything separated in individual node pools and zonal clusters, that alert right now is completely useless.
what we could do is track the number of nodes over time and whether it's increasing like more than we expect, right? Like we could set a threshold for the rate of increase, maybe. I don't know. Like there's probably something we could do.
Can I, I think I've discussed this with people in the past, but I think we should have a service. Well, we've mentioned this many times, a service called Kubernetes, like an actual GitLab service called Kube or Kubernetes or whatever. And these node pools are like saturation resources.
Yeah.
Just another one of those kind of saturation things. Obviously, we have a problem with figuring out what the max is, but at the worst, we could just hard code it and then update it every now and again, as a first hack of that, because the node pools don't really fit one-to-one with any of the other services because they're just their own thing. Yeah.
I've got an issue for this, so I'll capture what we just discussed in that issue, and I'll ping both of you on it just so that you're aware and make sure I capture the notes correctly.
Nice. I think it might be 1336, Scarlett, but if not, if you can update that link. Nice. So one thing I was going to just quickly check in on is blockers. So we have 3 blockers, I believe, for the API. So I just want to check those are still the only 3 that we are aware of. So we have the 20 in the charts, which is replacing Xtail.
You want to share your screen so we know what you're looking at?
I can try. I have got the annoying screen. In fact, no, I'm not even going to try because I've been through this Zoom screen share thing so many times today already that it's killing me. I'll link them in here. And so where, I guess, hang on, let me stop.
If it makes you feel any better, mine has stopped doing whatever that thing was.
Oh, really? Weird. Mine just started. Mine was okay. And then this week it's just begun. It's really, you've just given it to me. Did yours stop this week? Is this yours?
Mine, yeah, sorry. I'm not taking it back though.
It's the most infuriating thing.
So regarding this first blocker, this was distribution's overall issue to replace Xtail with the GitLab logger. Since we don't use Gitly and Prefect, we don't need to wait for those two issues, but I see GitLab Workhorse still has an open issue. If I remember correctly, that's an okay situation because it's already emitting JSON logs and they're already going to standard out. So I don't know if we need to wait for that one either. I had to re-review this issue because both Jarva and I have looked at this at one point in time. But I don't think we need to wait for that one either. So I'm hoping this is not a blocker.
Great. Sounds good. And then these two, I believe both are. And then there's another, which I'll just...
Yeah, 2544 is, because without it, we don't get the improvements that are being made to GitLab Logger into our infrastructure, which is no good. And maybe we don't need to block ourselves on issue number 2 in GitLab Logger, but it would be nice to see that we're not magically losing logs should the GitLab Logger crash.
Yeah, I think we should definitely wait and see what this looks like on Canary. Like, we don't have to not make these blockers. I just want to check that we are, like, in fact, I suppose more significantly, are we currently aware of any additional new ones? I know we also have the blackout one, which I'll find. But is there anything else we've come across in the last week?
Nothing I know of.
Good stuff, good stuff. So using the multi-large working group to help get some visibility on these. So they've already kind of made aware that as we move through the API migration on Canary, we may find some new stuff, we may sign some stuff on production, and we'll bring those in. So that's all fine. Fantastic. Is there anything else that people want to cover? Nope. Okay, cool. So would it be worth, Henry, definitely, anyone else who wants to join, like just to have a bit of a view on, in fact, maybe Skyback, like how do we sync up for next week on the API stuff, well, and other stuff, but the API stuff. Make sense?
How?
I will stop this recording so we can end this meeting. If anyone wants to drop, then please go ahead.